في السماوات والأرض ويعلم ما تسرون وما تعلنون. He knows whatever goes on in the skies and the earth. You see the constant comparison between the universe and ourselves in this surah? Look at the sky. Look at how much is happening in the sky. Look at how much is happening in the universe. He knows every millisecond and every millimeter of what's happening in the sky, and every atom, and inside of every atom, every subatomic particle. He knows it directly. He knows it himself. He doesn't know what you're up to. وَيَعْلَمُ مَا تُسِرُّونَ وَمَا تُعْلِنُونَ. He knows the things you keep secret, and He knows the things that you expose. There's a very powerful expression in the Quran. It demands a little bit of attention in the few minutes I have left. Allah knows the things we keep secret. Allah knows the things we make public. What Allah is telling us is sometimes people really have a deep problem in their faith, but they cover it up with some other words. So what they're saying on their mouths is not exactly what they have in their heart. So Allah says, I know what you keep inside, and I know what you're saying with your mouth. And I know the contradiction between the two too. There will be a person, I'll give you an example, I'll call it out just by means of a short example. There's a young student. He's got some friends that are non-Muslim, and they're trying drugs. And they offer him some. First time he says it's haram. Second time he says it's haram. Third time shaitan comes to him and says, hey, come on, it's not that haram. Go ask the Imam. Ask the Imam, Imam, I have a friend who says that drugs aren't haram. He won't say, I'm having that thought, or my shaitan just gave me a waswas. He says, I have a friend who thinks drugs are okay because they're not mentioned in the Quran. Pharmaceutical products by their name have not been mentioned in the Quran. Therefore, is it okay? Is it okay to try some of these pharmaceutical products? And the Imam says, no, it's not okay. Then he'll go around and say, you know what? Our Imams, they're so backwards. They don't understand modern society and modern chemistry, and therefore they have these outdated fatwa. And he'll give a whole rant about that, but what's really going on in the inside? I really want to try that drug. I really want to try that. What's so wrong with dating anyway? What's so wrong with having a little fun? What's so wrong with this or that? You'll say it in nice ways on the outside, but the real whispers of shaitan that you have submitted to on the inside, Allah knows. You can cover them up on the outside when you talk to me or somebody else. You can even cover them up for yourself, but Allah knows that you're even lying to yourself. You can't even be honest to yourself. وَيَعْلَمُ مَا تُسِرُّونَ وَمَا تُعْلِنُونَ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. Allah is completely and fully knowledgeable of what's going on in the chests. What's going on inside here. What feelings you have, what thoughts you have, what temptations you have, what evil thoughts you have that you never tell anybody. He knows those too. وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَبَأُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ قَبْلِ. What is wrong with you people? Haven't you seen the news, the events of those who came much before you, and how they فَذَاقُوا وَبَالَ أَمْرِهِمْ, that those who came much before you and tasted the consequences of their behavior? Those news haven't come to you? Allah asked that question in Madani Quran. I told you how much of Quran has already been revealed? 2/3. Meccan Quran has already been revealed. Meccan Quran is full of stories of previous prophets who came and warned their people, and the people made fun of them, and then they died and they were destroyed. And then on top of that, they're eternally punished in hellfire. And the Muslims are being asked now, you think those stories are just for non-Muslims to read? Haven't those news come to you? أَلَمْ يَأْتِكُمْ نَبَأُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ قَبْلِ. Haven't you heard the news of those who disbelieved before? The irony here is Allah is talking to Muslims. Madani Quran talks to Muslims. And He's saying, aren't you afraid of those who disbelieved in the past? Don't you think you'll end up in that place? Why would Allah talk to us as though we're non-Muslims almost? Why is He talking to us like that? Because Allah is warning us of a very serious problem. Faith on the tongue and disbelief in the heart. And He just in the previous ayah said, I know what's going on deep inside your chests. So He's interrogating that and saying, look, they disbelieve with their mouth, but I can see disbelief on the tongue, and I can also sense disbelief. I also know disbelief when it's in the heart and it never makes it to your mouth. I even know that one. Take warning of those nations. They tasted the consequence of their decision. وَلَهُمْ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. And the last ayah I want to share with you because time is up. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُ كَانَتْ تَأْتِيهِمْ رُسُلُهُم بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. Listen to this. It's such like powerful advice from Allah Azza wa Jal. This is, by the way, I consider this surah the surah of the fruits, the benefits of faith. The first half of this surah is a summary of our faith, the practical summary of our faith. And the next half of this surah is, what are the advantages of being a believer? What good comes in your life because you're a believer? I didn't get to share that with you this time, but at least I want to tie up the first part. Allah summarizes basically one of the most common reasons people refuse to accept guidance from Allah. One of the most common, not the only reason, but one of the most common reasons. What is it? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُ كَانَتْ تَأْتِيهِمْ رُسُلُهُم بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. That is because messengers came to them, and they continuously came to them. They used to come to them with the clearest arguments, the clearest proofs. فَقَالُوا أَبَشَرٌ يَهْدُونَنَا. And they would say in response, flesh and bone, this human being, this guy looks like us, he's going to guide us. You want me to listen to him? Have you looked at him? Have you looked at his house? Do you look who he hangs out with, all these poor people that have become Muslim with him? Do you know who you're talking to? You want me to become a believer because of this guy? This is how they would talk about prophets. Fir'aun would say about Musa alayhi salam, look at him, he can't even talk clearly. He stutters. وَلَا يَكَادُ يُبِينُ. He can't even open his mouth. Look at him. You want me to listen to him? People would come to Nuh alayhi salam. He would walk by them and they would إِسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ. They would pull their clothes in, like, don't touch me, old man, you're dirty. That's how they would talk to Nuh alayhi salam. People, Shu'aib alayhi salam, other messengers would come, give a message, and they would say, listen, I want to listen to you, but I'm a millionaire. I have a certain appearance to keep up. And you keep all these homeless people, these poor people, these believers around you. Why don't you get away from them? And then we can have a meeting in the executive office. Because I don't want to see this riffraff near me. I don't want to be seen with this low class, this scum of society. I don't want to be seen with them. Get rid of them and maybe I'll listen to you. The criticism was always the same. Another human being's going to guide me? He's just like us. What do they say about Jesus, about Isa alayhi salam? Yamshi fil aswaq. What is this messenger? And they said about the messenger too, about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, look at this messenger. You think he's a messenger? He goes shopping. He walks around like everybody else does. He eats food too. I saw him having lunch the other day. How can he be a messenger? That was the argument. In other words, and this is what I'm tying it up with, one of the most common reasons people refuse to accept guidance because they don't see that they're submitting to God. They say, why is there a messenger in between? He's just like me. I can have a relationship with God myself. I don't need a messenger in between. And Allah says that is the very source of arrogance. Iblis was not asked to make sajda to Allah. He was asked to make sajda to Adam alayhi salam, because it was a test of arrogance. He didn't directly show arrogance to Allah. He actually showed arrogance to Adam alayhi salam. He said, he's made of clay. I'm made of fire. I'm better than him. Nobody's going to say I'm better than Allah. But Allah wants to see, are you going to say I'm better than X, Y, and Z? I'm better than these messengers. I don't have to follow them. They're just human beings. They make mistakes. They do this, they do that. That is the very essence of arrogance from the very beginning of creation. From the very beginning. Even Iblis said, Abashar? A human being? Are you kidding me? Have you looked at my resume? I'm going to follow him? It's not going to happen. That is the same exact pride that comes, the mutant of that pride is still among us today. Somebody tries to give me advice. First thing that goes in my head, who are you to give me advice? Who do you think you are? Somebody gives, I'm the khatib today. I'll lead the salat. After salat, somebody says, brother, I didn't like what you said. I'll say to him, do you know who you're talking to? I'm on YouTube, you know. You know? You know who you're dealing with here? That is the very definition of arrogance. That is the very definition of negating guidance. Allah says nations of the past were destroyed because they couldn't take guidance from another human being. If the messenger is not with us today, his words, his instructions, his teachers, the people his students who teach on his behalf are here today. The scholars are here today. The da'is are here today. You know, the people of reminder are here today. It could be your father giving you advice. It could be your brother, your cousin giving you advice. But you look at him and say, Dad, you're always saying the same thing. Leave me alone. You don't understand. You tell your son, who are you? You're going to tell me? I used to change your diaper. You don't talk to me. Get out of here. And you can't take advice from your son. This is the same exact thing that keeps people from accepting guidance. Refusal to take advice from others. Because pride gets in the way. May Allah Azza wa Jal remove the pride from our hearts, and may Allah Azza wa Jal make us a people that really truly believe for the sake of Allah and can put their ego aside, especially when advice is given. May Allah Azza wa Jal revive in us the iman that Allah intends to revive by means of His majestic Quran. All of you, inshallah ta'ala, as a short homework assignment, when you go home today with your family, recite Surah Al-Taghabun, Surah number 64. Recite it, read a little bit, even if in translation, read it with your family. You remind them of some of the things you heard about today. And refresh that in your hearts, inshallah ta'ala. It's just a page and a half, so even memorizing it in a week is not difficult for any of you. Do that, and slowly you get closer and closer to the Quran. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Quran al-Hakim, wa nafa'ni